Hello everybody and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. Joining me today as always is Devon.
Good evening / morning, my little ponies.
And as always I'm Rick. We're going to start with our good old nonsense asinine hypotheticals.
I have a cracker for you today. You are an untattooed individual, right, Rick?
Yeah, I am. It would be weird for me to get one at this point.
Well, here is my question. You're allowed to have any tattoo anywhere on your body. Cost is not an issue, size is not an issue, and the tattoo comes to you absolutely pain-free, so no consequences. What do you pick and where?
Dude, the reason that I've not done it, other than it being weird, is also because it would be big and painful, but it's also the fact that it would be super edgelordy as fuck, but I kind of dig it. Just up my spine, a rose, and blood dripping off the thorns.
You know, the funny thing is I'm picturing that and I'm like, that's not actually that big of a tattoo.
It is if it goes all the way up your spine.
Except it's not. Have you seen my back tattoo?
Your back tattoo is broad. This is just the same height and kind of narrow and nowhere near as expansive and invasive, but still, for a poo babby who's never done it before, obviously you said it's pain-free, but it's still a thing.
Well, here's the funny thing is I reckon that tattoo won't be as bad as you think it is, because the bulk of the piece is going to be on your upper back, which isn't the problem. Granted, the rest of the piece is going right along your spine, which everyone says is a horrible place to get it, but the bits of my tattoo that are over my spine weren't any worse than anywhere else on my back, so I don't know. Bit of advice for anyone thinking of getting their first tattoo. Upper arm. That's all I'll say.
Because it's also really easy to hide in case you have a place that doesn't let you have them.
I'm in a position where I've got an amount of tattoos, and if I wore a long sleeve shirt, you'd never know.
Yeah, although you couldn't go into the non-Yakuza onsen.
No. I've told our mutual friends that if we do eventually do the Dream Japan trip and we go to an onsen, they're going to have to come into the Yakuza onsen with me, because I'm not going in that shit on my own. But yes, do you have a question to return fire with?
The one that I have for you is a little bit pedestrian, but it's you can replace one human body part with an upgrade, just like you could switch out a piece on a PC. What would it be?
Horsecock.
Sure.
Like, it would be good for pissing, but not so good for fucking.
Oh, it's actually not good for pissing because they're so long that you end up having to decrystallize them of urea crystals.
Well, I assume that it would be the size and the length and the girth, but it wouldn't have any of the horse issues. It'd still be a human penis.
Sure.
But, yeah, no, again, it wouldn't be too good for fucking. So, I don't know, man. I'm one of these weird individuals where, you know, you get these things of like, hey, you can have a robot body. What, would you do it? And I'm like, no, I like having a human body of flesh.
Yeah. It's a weird one where the human body heals, whereas the robot body doesn't. If the robot body is damaged in any way, you've got to replace that part, otherwise it's just suboptimal until you do replace it.
Basically, I have an attachment to me being me, and taking a part off me and replacing it with robotics or cybernetics or anything is like, well, cool, I'm now no longer complete. And that's not to disparage anyone who's like missing a limb and has a prosthetic. It's just, I'm sure there's some people who have gone through that scenario and think the exact same way that I do, and it's a horrible thing to think, but it's the way my brain is. My brain's like, I'm me, I don't want to replace me.
The ship of Theseus on a human scale.
Pretty much. One of my favourite fucking gags, by the way, is there's a webcomic. There's a robot talking to someone and he's missing an arm, and he's just like, slowly, little by little, if each piece of me was taken away and then replaced, would I still be me? And then it cuts to the other side of the table and it's a guy at a poker table going, yeah, that's all well and good, but if you didn't want to lose the arm, you shouldn't have bet it.
That's a good sight gag. But yeah, we're doing My Little Pony, and also a little bit of a side-eye at periphery demographic, the Bronies.
Which, while me and Rick are both big fans of My Little Pony and in the age range and gender range of Bronies, I don't think either of us actually identify as a Brony. I've got two stories of telling people in real life, because by the way, I don't really talk to people about my interests outside of the internet, because, you know, people are judgmental and I don't like that.
Yeah.
There's two stories I've got when revealing to people that, yeah, I've watched My Little Pony, it's not that bad. The first was back in college when the thing was first airing. I was with a group of friends. There was a girl I liked in this group of friends, and I went, yeah, I watch cartoons. I watched that My Little Pony thing. And this girl who I liked instantly just sort of went, oh, wow, that makes you creepy. And I was like, cool, lesson learned. Don't tell people I like things. And there was another more recent memory. I went to go watch some wrestling, and people were talking about some rapper dude who went to jail for, well, no pretty way of putting it, child stuff. I couldn't tell you the rapper's name because I don't care. I'm not giving them any more publicity than they've already been given.
So that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and they were a fan of My Little Pony, and I went, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. I've got My Little Pony memorabilia. I've got that vinyl figure of Big Macintosh. I've also got a poster of, I think I've said this in another podcast, of the Ponytones going on tour poster, who are being supported by Coldplay, by the way, which is a great fucking pun.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay, and then they clearly lost respect points for me that day, and I'm just like, cool, I've learnt this lesson again about 10 years after already learning the lesson. Great.
It's like seeing a subtitle of Morrigan disapproves -10.
I'm not even that passionate about it. It's just a show I happen to enjoy, you know? Again, I would never have described myself as a brony. I never went to conventions. Shit, I never even hung around the forums. I just watched the show and thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay is an understatement. I thought it was good.
But yeah, normally when we start these, we start with our previous experience. We touched on it a little bit, but personally, I was vaguely aware of pink brushy toys back when Gen 1 was new, and they had a movie around the same time. It was around when Transformers was new, and it was Hasbro just marketing all of their stuff. And Lauren Faust saw the same thing when she was a kid, and now that she's an adult and able to create things, she was able to pick the idea of rebooting My Little Pony, and it got picked up. So when I first saw Friendship is Magic, it was because I was showing it to my niece, because I needed to entertain my niece for a day, and, you know, I kept on watching it because it was heartfelt, it was good. But how about you? What was your previous experience with the show? Was it just the fact that you saw it?
I think it was 4chan. I'll be absolutely honest with you, I used to crawl the 4chan boards. It was some form of meme involving Pinkie Pie, and I went, that's dumb, that can't be real, and then it was real, so I watched the show.
Like, I'm pretty sure 4chan was part of the initial charge on this, where they were ripping the piss out of it before it was released of, oh, look at how commercialized this has become.
As if it wasn't before.
Yeah, and then they watched it and were like, dude, you gotta watch this. It's actually good. I'm shocked. And there's a Venn diagram of early bronies and 4chan people, and it's a circle. The whole idea of these grizzled adult men who are all edgelords down to their soul, just being brought out of that shell by something that is legitimately heartfelt and uplifting and positive. It's the TLDR of the entire series, really.
Well, they take the piss out of it a little bit in The Amazing World of Gumball.
Oh, yeah.
There's a character in that show called Carrie, who is a ghost, which I love that reference, great. And there's a whole episode where they need to return a DVD, or they've rented a DVD. It's a cartoon pony show. They don't say the name, but it's cartoons and ponies. They bought it for their little sister, Anais, and they've got a spooky movie in their DVD case, and they're like, oh no, Carrie must have it. So they rush over to Carrie's, and Carrie's watching this show, and she's got a look of horror on her face. They eject the DVD, and they take it, and she just grabs onto one of them and goes, tell me, is it so wrong for a goth girl with a heart of black steel to love colourful little ponies? Can I feel love of friendship? It's just a funny little gag.
That's pretty much how it feels to us.
I've always maintained that I don't have a heart of black coal. You know, I like good, uplifting, warming things.
I didn't see the rainbows until I was already a man.
You never saw fucking Zippy and George? Oh, fuck you, that joke was funny.
Oh, Bungle, yeah!
Have you seen the episode where they just filmed them being right filthy bastards because they thought it was funny?
Oh, yeah, that was great.
That was great. People mistakenly say it was a real episode of Rainbow. It wasn't. It was the cast going, fuck it, we're all in costume, which fuck that poor fucker in the bungle costume, but let's have a giggle. So they did.
Oh, was that the twanger one? Let's get a hold of your twanger, George.
Yeah. And he's playing with a fucking clothes hook.
Yeah.
And they were playing with Bungle's balls.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus Christ. If people think British people are all miserable fuckers like Rick, you've got another thing coming.
I'm not miserable, I'm just an arsehole. But yeah, there's loads of characters, but the main cast, they call them the main six. It's a pun that started really early on, and I don't think it ever got fully adopted by the cast and crew. You've got Twilight Sparkle, who's the audience surrogate who doesn't know about friendship and is thrust into it. You've got Applejack, who I think is your favourite, ain't she?
No.
Is she not? I thought you had a real thing for Southern ladies.
I have a thing for Southern ladies, but my favourite character, personality-wise, is Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, fair enough. Rainbow Dash, who is Sonic the Hedgehog fanboy's favourite.
I like her because if you translated this show into humans, she'd clearly be an athletic gym-goer type, and I fucking live for that shit.
You say the same thing about Applejack, and she'd very definitely be a big old beefy farm girl.
She would be, but she doesn't come off as it with her personality. Do you get what I mean?
Plus the fact that she's not Big Macintosh size.
She's not. Big Macintosh is...
Yeah, it would be really good if she was, because like that would be really cool for diversity.
You just unlocked a memory for me, which I completely forgot. It's kind of embarrassing, actually, but I've never been shy about admitting the fact that, hey guys, I read fan fiction from time to time because I find that shit entertaining. Back in the day, I used to go on the website FimFiction, which I don't know if it still exists. It probably does. It's just a fan fiction site for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And I used to, because the character was obscure enough and probably the only male character who had a lot of screen time before Shining Armor, I used to read a bunch of, hey, what does Big Macintosh do when he's not on screen? And there's some talented writers in the fucking My Little Pony fandom who write some amusing, funny stories about a character whose defining trait is just says E up and nope a lot.
Yep.
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 Sorry, we're jumping forward a little bit, but there's an episode where the Cutie Mark Crusaders did something quite horrible, and I can't remember what, and when they go to apologise to Applejack, Big Macintosh gives them a lecture while Applejack just says nope, and it's one of the funniest gags I've seen, despite being a relatively serious moment.
It's a really cute reversal of roles, where Big Macintosh does not have that many lines throughout the entire rest of the show, and just having Applejack be the one going nope, it's great. It's a nice little gag.
Also, who doesn't like the trope of the character doesn't speak, but when he does, you listen?
It's Silent Bob, except he's a bit of a shitheel now.
The only time I remember Silent Bob saying anything was in the Silent and Bob movie. Silent and Bob. Fuck. Jay and Silent Bob movie, fuck, the one that came after Mallrats but before Strikes Back. He's trying to sort of sign to Jay, oh, the orangutan we're chasing is behind you, you fucking idiot. And he gets so frustrated, he just snaps and screams, behind you, you fucking idiot! Fuck you! I was being so fucking obvious! And then storms off. And I'm like, yeah, it's not really the same thing.
Yeah.
When the only time you talk is to snap, that's different from when this character talks, you listen. Me shouting has made me feel very sick.
Resuming the main six, we have Fluttershy, who was originally a pun on Shutterfly.
Oh, okay, makes sense. She likes nature.
Yeah, and she originally had a camera. She was a shutterbug.
Can I just say right now, my favourite Fluttershy moment is working herself up to go, yay.
It is such a cute one.
Dude, that was my text tone for the longest time.
Yep. My text tone for the longest time. I think it was Fluttershy that did it, but like so many other ponies did it during the course of the show. The audible smile.
Oh, what, the squee?
Yeah. Squee.
Pinkie Pie's one is probably the best because it's usually the loudest. Also the most often, let's be real.
There's Rarity, who is a drama queen and proud of it. And there is Pinkie Pie, who is probably the one that most nieces prefer because she's pink and she's funny.
Going back to film fiction, because I brought it up now so the cask has been unsealed. I read a fanfic where basically the reason why Pinkie Pie is insane is because she's related to Loki.
Huh, yeah.
And that's just been my headcanon ever since.
That's probably why she keeps bringing him up.
Yeah, okie dokie, Loki.
Yeah, it's a cute one.
What if Loki used his powers for good? You get Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, you do. In fact, you even see that with Discord later on when he starts using his powers for good and just for fun. Pinkie has a fucking ball.
Well, even when he's doing it for evil, remember when he turns the rain into chocolate and fucking Pinkie Pie just starts dancing and lifts her head back so she can eat it?
And she tries to stop them from winning because eternal chaos comes with chocolate rain, you guys. Chocolate rain.
Chocolate rain. I don't know the rest of the words, but I'm sure it's about poo.
It's not about poo, it's about racism.
Oh, well, now I feel bad.
Yeah, if you listen to the entire song, realizing it's about racism, yeah, it gets pretty heavy.
I've only heard Tay Sunday do chocolate rain, and that's it. And I've always just assumed it was about poo.
Yeah, no, it's not. After a discourse into Chocolate Rain, there is the Cutie Mark Crusaders, who were meant to be a complete spin-off series, but they were strong enough characters to make it into the series proper, and it's to the series' credit, because they are very good B-side characters for B-side episodes, because they're kids, and it gets a nice little bit of world building of seeing how the world is for kids who haven't gotten their life-altering, life-defining brand yet, and their whole shtick is they're trying to find it, because everyone over a certain age has hit horse puberty and has got a brand, and they're trying to get theirs.
I've definitely shown you the comic before. Apple Bloom goes up to Applejack. She's all excited and she goes, Applejack, Applejack, look, I finally got my cutie mark. And she turns around to show her flank, and on her flank is just a pole and some cash.
Oh boy.
And Applejack goes, oh my god, and runs away. I don't know what to do, but she runs away, and then it cuts back to Apple Bloom, who goes over to a bush, and then it just shows rain Rainbow Dash laughing her ass off with a fucking tin of paint next to her. It was all just a gag by Rainbow Dash to upset Applejack.
Yep.
That's a horrible thing to do, but fuck if it ain't funny.
Yep. But the cast is only as strong as its villains, and it has a fair few good ones. We touched a little bit on Discord, but I'm going to touch on him a little bit harder. He's voiced by Q himself, John Delancey. Discord is about as close as you get to a chaotic evil party member in a neutral good show. He kind of flips to chaotic neutral, but he always has his emphasis on selfish.
I think he's always chaotic evil, it's just he likes Fluttershy enough not to be a complete jackass.
Yeah, chaotic selfish is still chaotic evil, but it's not chaotic villain.
Yeah, it's difficult to pull off, but you can be chaotic evil without trying to destroy the world.
Yeah, the way to ground yourself is to like something and make sure you want to make sure that survives.
I'm going to reference a retrospective from 2 episodes ago. I said it in Dragon Age Origins. I really appreciate that you can be a pure evil character, because in that game, if the Darkspawn win, you die.
You're pointed at something worse.
Yeah, you could be a complete and absolute evil piece of shit, but there's a bigger problem that will destroy everything and mean you can't live if it wins, so therefore you're evil, but you're not as evil.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think the last villain you saw was Queen Chrysalis, wasn't it? The Changeling Queen.
I saw Tyrek, but he was only in 2 episodes, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, he just generally didn't matter. He wasn't that impactful a villain.
He didn't even really show up.
Yeah, he was a doom clock that just was coming, and then he got blown up.
Yeah, it was a bit shit. I was actively watching during the end, like it was the end of season 2. I was actively watching at the time, and I was watching Brony react channels because I found them amusing, and everyone flipped their shit and went, yes, the party cannon is a cannon weapon for Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, party cannon. So here's one of the things. If you can't see the potential in an entire race of shapeshifters, then you're obviously not a writer. They're a really interesting concept. They get used, and the entire race gets to have its face turned later on in the show.
Yeah, I need to actually finish watching My Little Pony because I stopped after like 3 or 4 episodes into season 3.
So the other villain that I was going to bring up, though, is one that you've not encountered. It's Starlight Glimmer. She starts out as someone who wants to create some kind of pony Pyongyang where nobody has a cutie mark, where everyone is equal.
Oh, she's Edelgard.
Yeah, she's Edelgard. And just like in Animal Farm, she is the one that's above all. Everyone is equal, but some are more equal than others. And it's revealed that she's the one that's been taking the cutie marks of everyone, but she's not done it to herself. She's just put a bit of chalk over her own to make it look like she's taking it off herself.
I don't fully understand the logic, because cutie marks, they're just like, hey, this is what you're good at, therefore this is what you do in life. Not having the cutie mark doesn't suddenly make you not able to do the thing, or does it?
Apparently it does.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's one of these things where you can try whatever you like and be good at it before you get your mark, and when you get your mark, it just like super solidifies getting super proficiency in the thing, and when you lose that proficiency, you've super lost it. They even do a little thing later on where they mix and match the cutie marks that the main 6 have, and they get super fucked up about it. Like Rainbow Dash trying to do all caring for animals thing. She's not cut out for it, but she does her best. But yeah, Starlight Glimmer doesn't get caught in her opening episode, and she gets a revenge episode where she tries to fuck with the space-time continuum and succeeds until she actually has a redemption. And the interesting thing about her redemption is that it sticks, but also she never forgets that she used to be awful, and that's what lets her bond with the great and powerful Trixie, who is also another one of my favorite characters. And the 3 of them, these 2 and Discord, they even get their own villain episode together, or former villain episode, where it's a season finale and it's one of my favorites. But yeah, they do eventually open up a school and usher in a new main 6 of different races, but that's getting towards the end of the series. So what we might do now is look a little bit into the fandom. We talked a little bit about John Delancey, and one other thing that he did was he looked at the fandom itself and he did a documentary on Bronies in particular. He did his documentary, which I've not seen, and I'm pretty sure it's good.
I'm glad you mentioned documentaries on Bronies, because I actually wanted to piggyback off this a little bit. I've not seen the thing that you're on about, but as everyone probably knows if you've been following the podcast, I'm a fan of wrestling. For a long time I was subscribed to the WWE Network, and on the WWE Network there was a wrestler called Corey Graves who suffered a really bad concussion, so he had to stop competing. But because he was such a good speaker, they gave him a commentary role. Better than that, he had his own show on the WWE Network called Culture Shock, where he'd go out and he'd experience different things. He went to a Brony convention, and it was only a 10-minute doc, documentary, and he went out and he talked to Bronies. His takeaway at the end was, I don't get it, but boy, this community feels good.
Yeah, so when you have a bunch of creative people, you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it will stick. It might be a bit uncharitable.
It's a crude saying, but it's correct.
Yeah, you throw 1,000 darts, some of them are going to hit the bullseye. You get a lot of creativity, there are some really, really cool things, and some of the things are stupid, and even the stupid things are fun. Like, we mentioned off-stream Too Many Two Snacks, who made some short and interesting and fun animations, and more recently is known for some HoloLive fan animations, and they rose to stardom by doing Koroni's Ikom Bokum, which is like 7 seconds.
I mean, I'd say that they rose to stardom when they did the Two Sisters play.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, did they do the actual Two Sisters play? I thought they just did the little dance thing.
The very first video they did was Two Sisters Play Portal, which is they literally just took the audio from Two Best Friends Play Portal, or Portal 2, I should say, and they animated it as if it was Celestia and Luna playing, and it's a fun little animation. And then they did more animations. They did Pokemon Snap, which was great. It's a fucking funny little thing. They even did their Shadow the Hedgehog play, where they have 2 additional people in, so instead of having Celestia and Luna, it was Luna and Candace and another character I can't remember off the top of my head, so...
Pretty good.
I love Two Snacks. Their animations are great.
Yeah.
You said they did some Chrysalis stuff back in the day.
The one that I'm thinking of is, I think it's called the Stick Bug Dance, and the idea is you got Chrysalis doing it, and then it's the little baby that Shining Armor and Princess Candace have. She starts doing the same dance that Chrysalis is doing, which I think is the Stick Bug Dance. It's the doodle-doodle-doo-doodle-doo-doodle-doo.
You're just making noises. That doesn't help me visualize the damn thing.
Another thing that the fans have done is something that fans do with a lot of animations, and they have abridged it. There are multiple people that have abridged it, and the one that I really like is Friendship is Witchcraft.
Yeah, you keep trying to get me to watch it, and I keep clicking on it and going, it's a lot to go through, I can't be arsed.
Yeah, and like with all abridged series, the first episode is when them finding their feet, and when it's underway is when they've established what they're doing and built their characters and built their trope. I'd say it's worth watching for fun.
No, I get you, man, but I think I should finish watching the actual series first.
Oh, sure.
If we're talking about fan things, we've got to mention Cupcakes, right?
I mean, if you want to. I've specifically not read it. It's like the Two Girls, One Cup of fan fiction. People know about it, and the longer you go without seeing it, the better your life is.
Well, it's one of those things where I've also never read it, but it's one of those things where via osmosis, I know everything that happens in it. And by all accounts, I'm pretty sure you can find more grisly and gruesome things on the internet if you try for half a second.
Yeah.
As far as famous Brony things go, there is one very last final thing I want to mention. I don't think anything would be quite complete without Eurobeat Brony.
Sure.
The only thing I've actually heard from them is, "It's good, I'm howling at the moon."
Howling at the moon.
The most interesting thing about that is, I've heard that song come out of my brother's phone.
Man.
And my brother either doesn't know or doesn't care about My Little Pony. Therefore, that kind of blows my mind. That piece of music alone is good enough to warrant someone who has no idea what the fuck My Little Pony is to listen to it.
Yeah, it's like Callie getting on the chart.
That happened?
Yeah. She got to #1 either on the world in rap or Japan in total.
Which Japan in total, that's not a surprise.
Yeah, one of her debut singles.
But I also feel like Callie has a big enough following that her fans could just force that if they chose to.
True, but also this was her debut.
Yeah, guess what? Weeaboos are weird.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, my last thing I was going to say about the fan stuff is Pony.morph, which is another silly, stupid thing.
You fucking linked this to me, and as soon as I finished watching it, my exact words were, "That's time I'm never getting back."
You're not getting any time back.
Yeah, but that time was specifically wasted.
Yeah. I wasted time on your behalf.
The funny thing is, if I watched this when it first came out, I probably would have thought it was fucking hilarious. But I didn't. I watched it when I'm 29, and I'm like, wow, that's a waste of my fucking time. Boy, does it remind me of shitty Newground Flash animations. Because it probably was.
It came full circle, and Ashley Ball went and watched it and did her own take on it of, instead of, fuck you, I can eat all these apples, it was, forget you, I can eat all these apples.
I'm guessing Ashley Ball is the voice actress for Applejack then, or something.
And also Rainbow Dash.
I got told, and I still don't know if it's true, that those two characters ended up being canonically in a relationship by the end.
Allegedly.
I assume you've seen it, so you could tell me one way or the other.
I've seen the last episode, and I think they come out of a portal together or something.
That's hardly definitive proof.
Yeah, because even when they were still friends, they still lived in the same town, so taking the same portal isn't a million miles out of things. Especially since, you know, Pinkie Pie lives with Weird Al Yankovic, Yankovic and has a kid with him.
Okay, didn't know that either.
Yeah, Weird Al Yankovic has a bit part character and obviously ends up married to Pinkie Pie.
That's awesome, but for real, when you said Weird Al Yankovic, I just thought you meant the pony acted like them. Not that it was actually goddamn Weird Al.
Yeah, the pony's name is Cheese Sandwich.
Dude, I used to work with a pony on the farm, and I hated that fucking thing. It was a little Shetland, and because it was a pony, it knew it could get away with doing shit that a big horse couldn't.
Oh man, it's like the herbivore version of Little Dog Syndrome.
No, it's worse than that, because the big horse is bigger than you. If you fuck with that horse, it can kill you.
Yeah.
Here's the little Shetland pony, and it's like, it can do things without killing you, and therefore it did them.
Yeah.
If that horse on the farm killed someone, that horse goes to the glue factory.
Yep.
But if that little Shetland pony fucking headbutted you, it's like, it's a fucking headbutt by a little pony, walk it off.
Yep.
It's like, nah, I fucking hated that little fucker. I'm cleaning up this thing's fucking shit and it wants to headbutt me. It can fuck off.
Man, I remember when my granddad had roses and he got some manure and he was putting it on there. And this green as grass kid comes round the corner and goes, "Hey, up, what's that doing?" And he goes, "I'm putting some manure on my roses." And he goes, "Looks like shit to me." Anyway, I think that's actually a reasonable place to start wrapping up.
Yeah, we just spent like 5 minutes talking about horse shit. Let's say our goodbyes.
Yeah. Let's tie off this chat about horse shit with a neat little bow. Let's go into our closing statements. We started this on the main channel. We started the weakest link. Do you have a weakest link of the series or periphery?
It's a real weird one because I think the series is stellar. I'm gonna give it to the opening theme tune, because the opening theme tune, it does a bit of a poor job of encapsulating what the show's about, because you hear that theme tune and you're like, yeah, My Little Pony, dumb kid thing for girls, basically. And it's not, is it really? You watch the series and it's aimed at kids, and yeah, you can see it's more focused towards little girls, but there's enough there that you can enjoy it for its own thing, so I feel like the main theme is a bit misleading, so I'm gonna give the weakest link to the main theme.
Now here's the thing, it's got the beats of the old show in the main theme. I think that was the jingle they used on the adverts when they used to do them in like the 80s and whatever. So that's part of what they're aiming for in the nostalgia part of that. And from season 2 onwards, they expand the opening theme credits. From season 5 onwards, they expand it even more. So it's the visuals of it change and the visuals get better.
I've got nothing against the visuals, I'm just specifically the theme. But yeah, do you have a weakest link for me?
I would say it's the bad parts of the fandom.
Go on, be specific, call them out.
With every diamond there is a rock, and I'm gonna call them the Cloppers. The very loud, very creepy, sweaty men who make it really uncomfortable to have been a little girl in Toys R Us in the 2010s.
Oh, jeez, I just remembered. They have a whole episode of Bob's Burgers about this as well.
Yeah, they do. The Equestronaut.
Yeah. Bear in mind, people who are fans of anything that is a child's show, if you go to a convention, don't forget about the primary audience is still kids. Could you maybe rein in the fucking creeps?
You're there as a guest just as much as anyone else, and it's a kindness that the old person can enjoy the thing, not an expectation because we know that you're a cash cow.
Pretty much. Like, it was really awkward with the Bob's Burgers episode, because I felt like, oh, look at that. The older people are inviting Tina into the circle and being nice and friendly because Tina is an awkward teenager and doesn't know how to act. And, oh no, the leader is a creep.
Yeah, and he wanted to steal her Gen 1 pony.
Which is a real fucked up thing when you think about it for more than 2 seconds.
It's basically the plot of Toy Story 2. But yeah, do you have a favourite moment?
My favourite moment is when the main six first all meet up as the main six, because before that first episode, every single member of that friendship just sort of knew each other existed, but they weren't friends.
Yeah.
It was quite a heartwarming moment that all 6 of these people who have completely different lifestyles, different likes and interests, come together as a group of friends. It was quite adorable and sweet, basically, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, they just so happened to be people who were independently friendly and helpful to the new girl who just so happened to be Princess's protege.
Bear in mind, Twilight was actually a dick when she first appeared in Ponyville.
Oh, yeah. She was Princess Celestia's Padawan, and she was being sent to go and learn the ways of the Force on your own in a tree. Fuck off and go do it. Send me a letter every now and again to make sure that you've learned something today.
Yeah, and I swear there's episodes as well where, well, at least an episode where Twilight can't think of a lesson, so she's actually panicking because she's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Dude, it's the second episode of season 2. It's an allegory for the staff feeling pressured into creating something on a time schedule, and from then on they say, okay, don't do this, just do what feels right, send me a message when you want me to, and send what feels like you have learned rather than what you are pressured into doing.
They also do do a really nice thing. I can't remember if it's the same episode or if it's a bit later on, where to also help alleviate that issue, Celestia straight up says, oh, by the way, fellow Main 6, if you ever learn a lesson, why don't you send me a letter instead?
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have a favourite moment for us, Rick?
Yeah, my favourite moment is going to be Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash's song. It's the Find a Pet song, and both of these characters are voiced by a voice actor who voices another character, but I weirdly prefer the singing voice of the characters that they're voicing right now, and it's the first time they've sung together, and I just really like it. Piggybacking off that, just the songs in general are very, very good. You can pick any one and you'll have a banger, but this one's my favourite.
I remember Winter Wrap-Up being good.
Yeah, like the entire episode was essentially a musical.
It was very Disney.
But yeah, do you have an MVP?
Of course I have an MVP, and I suspect it's going to be your MVP as well, because none of it would exist without Lauren Faust.
Yep.
Straight up, how else can you give it to anyone other than Lauren Faust? When she found out that a different demographic enjoyed her show, did she double down and be a miserable git about it and be like, no, this is for little girls, fuck off? Nah, she was like, oh, that's cool, and just didn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, I think the only thing she changed was she changed Ditsy Doo's name to Derpy Hooves.
Didn't it get changed back as well, because the execs didn't like it?
I think she's now Derpy Doo.
Fair enough. I'll throw the question back, but you already agreed, so I know who it is. Have you got an MVP, Rick?
Here's the problem. I could just agree, but I will have to also give it to the voice actors.
You cheating fuck.
Yeah, but also, they do deserve it. They took it seriously right from the get-go. It shows. Kids don't like to feel talked down to, but they don't feel talked down to when the people with the heartfelt lessons are performing it like they thought they were in the right, even when they're in the wrong, and it lets them feel like they've learned something and teach the teachable moment. I'm giving it to the voice actors, and apologies to Lauren Faust.
Who's your MVP, Rick? Everybody. Thanks, Rick. That's helpful.
The cast. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up. So join us again for another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. If you want to get in touch with us, we have the comment section on YouTube, and if you are listening to us on one of the audio platforms, there is our email at nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. And so it's going to be goodbye from me.
And we're in that awkward position where I can't think of a My Little Pony quote, so I don't know. Praise the sun? Goodbye.